Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Mallory of Mal's Fit Kitchen, and I'm a future dietitian that has given you a full series about all things dietetics, dietetic internships, and becoming a dietitian. So if you are like, Mallory, I don't know if I want to become a dietitian, go on back to my last video because I explain if you should go into it. But if you're already here and you're like, I know I want to become a dietitian, I need to know how to apply, you're at the right place. Because I know that right now you're probably like, I'm so scared, so excited. I get it, I've been there. But today I really want to break it down and tell you the things that you need to know. And these are the things that I did in order to get matched to my first choice program that was very competitive. And also, the last thing, I shared the tip that I used to have multiple program directors telling me that they wanted me before match day even came around. I can't wait to give you all the deets on this video, so let's dive right in. Okay, so grab your pen and paper or the notes on your phone because this stuff is
critical.
Seriously, this part you must remember because it is so important in your application. Because this process is strenuous. You have to apply through D&D Digital, you have to apply through DICAS, and also the school's website. So you need to remember those 3 steps because if you don't, your application may not even be sent through, and that would prevent you from getting an internship. So your director should be telling you these things, but just know that you need to get these set up as soon as possible once you're actually starting this process your senior year or whenever you're applying. So if they aren't telling you, maybe ask some questions so that you can get a little bit more information, and just make sure to write down all of your passcodes, get all of that covered. This should be pretty clear once you get that process started, and there's some videos out there by those places as well that give you some of the application steps. So now I'm just gonna dive into the stuff that nobody actually tells you about applying. The first thing that you need to do is start researching. And I know what you're thinking, girl. You're like, I'm already done with the research. I already do that enough in my undergrad. I get it. I'm not a huge fan of research myself, but for your dietetic internship, it is so important. So you could start this process your freshman year or the first semester of your senior year. It doesn't matter, but in my mind, the sooner the better. And basically what you want to do is start to narrow down your options. So I know that it can be hard because there are literally so many programs, but the thing that you can really start to think about is, what can I afford? Because you don't want to get through your whole application and then realize you can't even afford that program. A lot of them you would have to do private loans, and there's not loans through the school, so that's a really important thing to keep in mind. Also, where do I want to be? If you only have a certain location that you want to be in, you could have a very limited amount of options, or you could have a lot. Just depends on the state, so make sure you research that before you get attached to a certain place. 3, do I want grad school or non-grad school track? This depends on if you need to take the GRE. This also depends on how long your program is going to be, how much money it's going to be. So this one may change, but definitely something to keep in mind as you're starting. And then 4, what program emphasis do you want? Honestly, this isn't as important as I thought it was when I was applying, because really all programs are very similar, but you still want to keep in mind, say if you love clinical, it would be better for you to go to a very clinical-based internship than it would be to go to a generalist program. On the flip side, if you're not a big clinical person, definitely don't apply to a super intense clinical program because that's not going to cater to your strengths or help you when you're applying to jobs after the internship. Also remember, it's more than okay if these things change, especially if you start your freshman year. The thing is that we just want to start to narrow these options down so that by the time you get to that application, it's so much easier to make your choices. So the sooner you start, the better. Okay, so you're researching, you're having a great time, you're finding the programs you like, but now what do you do with all this great information? Well, this brings me into my next point. You must stay organized. Oh my gosh, this is so important. However it works for you, this could be pen and paper, this could be an Excel sheet, a Google Doc, whatever you like. Make sure that you're writing down all these things about the programs you like, you dislike, and why that is. Also, once you do decide that and you become ready to do the application process, this will be really helpful because there are other things you have to keep in mind when applying. Some of the things you need to remember about each program are that you have to do a full DICAS application for each one and specify that in DICAS. Then on top of that, you also need to remember, have you applied on the school site? Because that's also a process. Have you sent in the money that you need? And is that a cash/check or is that online? This makes a big difference because if it's cash or check, you need to physically send that to them. So that takes extra time that you need to account for. Does the school that you want to go to have supplemental parts of their application, and have you completed those? Every school is different, but a lot of them may have one. For example, I had to write a handwritten letter and include that in my application. And if you don't do those, most schools will automatically take you out of their application process. And then lastly, have you reached out to the director? I'm gonna go into this a little bit later, but basically you want to know a little bit more about that program if you actually wanna go there. So it's good to reach out to that director, let them know you're interested so that they have an idea of who you are before you even apply. Okay, so you're there, you're deciding how many to apply to, whoop, whoop. But now you're like, how do I know though how many I need to apply to? Oh, this is so hard. Every single person tells you something different and it's so challenging. But from my personal experience, I applied to 9 programs, which is a lot. And I wish I hadn't applied to so many, honestly. The thing is it was really nice because it gave me the security that I knew I had a much higher chance of getting into a program. And I knew people that applied to 1 to 3 and they really regretted it. And they had to do second round matches and kind of do scramble. And they wished they had applied to more. But the thing is when I applied to 9, it was a huge toll on my bank account. I paid for all these on my own and I spent almost $1,000 or more just applying to those programs that I really didn't need to. So I would suggest applying to about 5 programs because I think that gives you enough that you have options and you have a higher chance of getting in, but not so many that you're literally killing your bank account like I did. You really just want to apply to the programs you like because if you don't, that's taking a spot from someone else that could love that program, and it's also going to be a detriment to you because you're just not going to enjoy your time or really learn all that you could in your internship. Okay, so before you go, I need to tell you the tip that I use that is not talked about enough that literally had directors telling me they wanted me in their program before DICAS even was submitted. It is to, drumroll please, differentiate yourself. Oh my gosh, guys, I don't know why this isn't talked about more. Everybody's saying you need to have the perfect resume and personal statement and all this blah, 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 which is true. All those things are very important, but the thing that really set me apart is I went above and beyond to make sure directors knew my name before I even put in that application. So I would email directors and I would ask them if they had time to answer my questions over email or over the phone. Depending on what they said, I would prepare my questions and either send them back to them over email or on the phone. We would set up that call. And when you are preparing your questions, it is so important that you do not ask silly questions. And a silly question would be something like, how long is your program? And it's like on the first page of their site. You need to try to really get to know things that no one else would be able to know unless they talk to that person or talk to someone else that had gone through the program. It's not beneficial to ask questions for you or for the internship director that can be found somewhere else. When I did this, directors felt like they already knew who I was before I even put in my application. And a lot of them then during my interview process said, I've really already gotten to talk to you. I just want to tell you that if you rank us high, we will want you in this program. This was so nice because it gave me that sense of security and honestly allowed me to choose where I wanted to rank the programs because I had that extra knowing that these programs did want me or didn't. So definitely try and do that. I even did something where when I was sending the checks that had to go in the mail, I added an extra thank you note to every single one. So that was 7 programs. Just saying thank you for letting me apply. Thank you for taking the time to review my application. And although no director directly reached out to me telling me that that was something they really enjoyed, I know that that was something that not a lot of people did that would have made a big difference in my application. All right, I'm so excited for you. I cannot wait for you to apply to your dietetic internship. I know it's so scary and also so exciting, but I'm here for you as you go through this. Feel free to DM me or comment down below. I'm Mallory Kitchen on Instagram and I always answer on there, but I also am happy to answer your questions in the comment box. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it will really support my channel, and make sure to turn on that little notification bell and hit that subscribe button so that you will be notified every time I upload new videos on this subject. I also upload videos on Sundays where I get real about nutrition and wellness because you know we need that nowadays. So stick around if you want to see those as well. It was so good to talk to you. I can't wait to be dietitians together, and I hope that I see you back here for my next video next week, which is talking about the resume.